All right, welcome everyone. My name is Matt, and we're going to talk about this thing called social media. We're on our second week of our series called No Filter, and last time when we talked about this particular thing, we talked about how social media is really fantastic. All the different things like GIFs, memes, and face swapping, all these things are so much fun. And the coolest thing that they've come up with, I think, is this filter. And filters can be pretty sweet, except when we start viewing ourselves the way that others view us. We talked about social media and how often it turns into this game, this competitive game. If we're doing well on social media, if we're being liked, people are following us, then we feel self-affirmed and we feel good. But if people don't like what we're doing, then all of a sudden they cause us this anxiety, this depression about winning in this popularity, almost contest. And so instead we said, okay, instead of allowing other people's view to impact how we view ourselves, we're going to take that filter off and we're going to let God determine how we're going to view ourselves. And so we're talking about this week, that last week, and this week we're talking about a filter that we want to put on, that we want to actually increase, and it's going to help us in our social media experience. Now, one of the things I love about social media is how pervasive all the information is all across the world, right? You know what things are happening right now in real time. It's like this really crazy, cool piece of news. These news are coming to you all the time. So if Kanye West says something ridiculous, you're going to hear about it. If your ex-boyfriend or your ex-girlfriend is with another person other than you, then you're going to obviously see that as well. And if you want to talk about the election and who voted and America's next president is Donald Trump, you want to see the reaction to those things, which has been crazy, then you can do that. But not only can you see it, but you can also share your opinions on what's going on. So if Kanye West says something stupid, you can tell me what you think about that. If your girlfriend or boyfriend is with someone else, you can share your thoughts. Or you can like their picture, just to mess with them. Or you can tell me exactly how you feel about Donald Trump going to be the next president of the United States. And so that's the interesting thing about social media. It creates this world where you can talk about anything and share your opinion however, whenever you want, without restraint, without any filter. Now, that seems really fun, right? Like, that seems great. Except when it's not great, right? Because there's been situations that you guys have probably come across where you see people doing things that maybe they should have applied some sort of personal filter of some kind. For example, if they're making fun of someone over social media, or complaining about everything, or gossiping, or fighting with their friends. And the one I don't really get is like taking your breakup public on social media. Back in the good old days, Facebook, okay? Back when Facebook was all the rage, they gave you a relational status. So you could be like in a relationship, single, divorced, it's complicated, all these different things. And I just never got why people would put that on there, because as soon as you change your status, the whole world would know that you've broken up. So I just kept my blank. I didn't put anything. But people do this, okay? So whether or not, you guys been on Facebook or whatever, you've seen something like this where someone has done something on social media that you're like, you know what, they probably could have used a personal filter. And if we're honest with ourselves, you probably have as well. You've probably done something similar as well. And maybe you've had a conversation with someone on social media and they said something mean about you and you gave this crushing response back. And you felt pretty good about yourself. And then later you're like, maybe I shouldn't have been so harsh. Or maybe you actually had a good opinion and you started on your opinion and you laid it out there and people disagreed and you started making them feel like idiots. I'm pretty sure you steamrolled everyone and the entire world was looking at you like you are a jerk, okay? Now I've said a lot of things in my time, online and offline, things that I'm not proud of. And I think probably the worst case scenario in this particular thing was I was in a leaders meeting with all my leaders. There's like 20 leaders at the time. This is when the junior high and senior high was together, so we had lots of leaders. We're in this like meeting, talk about really deep, sensitive issues about like cutting, depression, all these things, like serious stuff, right? And the speaker says, you know what? in this particular instance, girls tend to struggle more than men. Does anyone know why? And I was thinking in my head, oh, this reminds me of a situation in Borat. Okay, have you guys seen the movie Borat? Just don't. I haven't seen it. All I was doing, I watched one of the trailers, and Borat is this guy. Essentially, the whole movie is about being incredibly offensive, and that was the joke, is just being super offensive. And so I decided I'm going to use one of these Borat comments in this particular time and try to be funny. I said, oh, it's because women have smaller brains than men. Apparently, the Kazakhstan government found that girls' brains are about the size of a walnut. Do you have those like scenarios where you wish, as the words were coming out of your mouth, you wish you could have like took them back right at that very moment? Everyone turned at me with utter disgust, and I was like, oh crap. I'm the one with the brain the size of a walnut right now. Oh man. So whether it was you who said something crazy, or me, or whatever, someone has said this, right? Maybe even, do your family have social media? Do they know how to use it? Some of them don't. Maybe someone has done, like, so many times, like one of my family members done something on social media, like so embarrassing. And so that's the cool thing about social media, is that it can be entertaining, it can be fun, it can be frustrating all at once. And for some of us, we think, well, that's just our online life. That's whatever. It's not, we have this kind of dissociation. It's like, that's not really as real as, in the real world. Well, I hate to break it to you, but sometimes doing things online can have harsher consequences than they can if you did them in real life. That sometimes things last longer online than they do offline. For example, the internet's going to be around for a pretty long time, and if you post something and you can't delete it, or you can't edit it, or someone's swiped it or saved it, it's there forever, right? It's not going anywhere. And it also gives this kind of really weird thing where you get access to like tons of people all at once. When was the last time that you talk to 500 people? You got a chance to talk to them, 500 people face to face like this, and talk about your thoughts? Never. But you have all these followers or friends, or I don't know, you probably have more than 500 friends on social media, and you spread your opinions, right? So if you freak out, say if you freak out at Taco Bell or McDonald's, where you guys freak out at school? So you freak out on a friend, rah, 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 you get all crazy and nuts, and people look at you and they go, someone's having a bad day, right? And then you go in, and the next day you're not thinking about it. Okay, someone kind of freaked out, whatever. But then, if you do the same thing on social media, that stuff is there for good. And even when you've said something and maybe deleted it, you didn't actually fix the problem, because the person has still seen it and it's already done something. So, when it comes to the internet, we can't afford to not have a filter. Right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about something in the Bible. And the Bible, it's so cool, because even though it wasn't made, with social media in mind, it all has these incredible guidelines and things we can take from it. Okay, so we're going to look in the book of Ephesians. This is Paul. We talked about Paul before. Anyways, he's this dude who loves Jesus. He's sending a letter to a church in Ephesus. And this is what he says. He says, don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths. So that pretty much means don't post unwholesome stuff. I don't know, you guys aren't familiar with that word unwholesome. But unwholesome just means something that's rotten or corrupt or breaks someone down or is capable of destroying someone. And we've all had experiences when our words or someone else's words did us harm. Our words can break down relationships and people. And some of you guys have no clue. This is one of your first times ever thinking about how damaging your words can be. And the Bible talks about that as well. It says in James 3, it says, have you ever seen a massive ship sailing effortlessly across the water despite its immense size and the fact that it's propelled by mighty winds? A small rudder directs the ship in any direction in the direction the pilot chooses. But just the same, it's just the same with our tongues. It's a small muscle capable of marvelous undertakings. And do you know how many forest fires begin with a single ember from a small campfire? The tongue is a blazing fire seeking to ignite an entire world of vices. Okay? So, the whole sticks and stones can break my bones, but names can never hurt me. That is absolutely false. We see this again and again in science, that words and how people react over social media, even in person, could really, really cause damage to someone, could really break down a person. Now when you're posting this stuff, right, when you're posting ugly posts, there's two people that are going to see your post, right? The person that it's directed towards, and then the innocent bystanders. They're just scrolling through their feed or whatever, and boom, you got a nasty message or a nasty photo or something's going on. And whether you say something nasty about someone else, it still affects you. It still affects the way that people see you. And you've been on the other side of this, right? You've seen other people ranting, and you go, this is I don't know if this person's a good person, right? And now I just want to show you the rest of what Paul was talking about in Ephesus here. It says, don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. So, in that way, social media is good for more than face swapping and photo liking. Just like your words have power to break something, they can also have the power to build things. So even think back to the first book of the Bible, Genesis, when God was speaking things into existence. He's like, let there be light, pow, there's light. Let there be earth, let there be all these things. And God created just by speaking. Now we're not like God, we can't do that. We can't just say something and poof, cheeseburger. I can't just do that. If you can, let's be friends. But in the same way, we are made in the image and likeness of God, and our words do damage. And so, just like God's words literally create life, we can use our words to support and encourage each other. And that's the power that words have, online, offline. And this is true whether you believe in God or not. If you use, it's important whether you ever thought about it. And it's important even if you haven't thought about it or not, because the way you use or don't use filters with your words creates an image and reputation for you that doesn't simply disappear or go away. Learning to be intentional about what we say online and what you hold back from saying has the potential to save you from a lot of pain and conflict in your relationships. So in other words, use your words to build, not break. Use your words to build, not break it. Every time you put something on social media, you are accomplishing something, right? Either you're building someone up or you're breaking them down. You're making them feel great or you're not making them feel so good. You're trying to make someone laugh or you're accomplishing something. So, we cannot afford to not have this filter. So, then what are we going to do, okay? So, I think this is very simple, okay? All I'm going to tell you to do is this. Before you press post, press pause. Before you press post, press pause. Slow down. Instead of reacting emotionally over someone or some sort of situation, go for a walk, homie. Just take it easy. Right? And I'll tell you what, if you're acting emotional, on the other side, if you're way too comfortable in a situation and you're feeling like, wow, I can just share whatever's on my mind, that's another danger as well. Both sides need you to apply a filter no matter what. And so you need to, before you press post, press pause. So if you're talking about how your mom's the coolest because she bought you tickets to Frozen on Ice, then that's cool. But then if you're posting that your mom is crazy, you can't wait to move out, and just to get rid of her and create space, well, that's not probably cool. I don't think you should share that. Or if you're posting your favorite Bible verse, okay, that's cool. You can do that. But if you're posting your favorite Bible verse every hour on the hour about how Jesus is coming back at any moment, you just need to take your phone, put it in the toilet, and flush. Okay, that's what you need to do. So you get the picture. So before you press send, press pause, right? And you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make regrets. But I tell you, if you just slow it down, if you just take it easy, if you allow yourself to build others people up and to slow down, to press pause before you press send, you'll make less mistakes. You'll have less regrets, and you'll enjoy your time on social media. So we don't have to change our world through social media, through our social media accounts, but it would be great for you to adopt this mantra, to use your words to build, not break. And if you embrace this idea, you'll often have to slow down and evaluate before you press send. So when you get out there, you press tweet, share, post, snap, Vine, whatever you do, just have fun. And remember that this filter, if you use this filter, you'll be glad you did it. Press pause before you press send. Pa, 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 pa.